Well, greetings, viewers of YouTube. We're already live over at Instagram. Whatever. Do they even have a thing? Are they like Madonna now? They're just Instagram. You don't have to say the .com part, which is, as you all know, the last name of a web page is, it's, what do you call that? Domain abbreviation? Anyway, we're here in Wonder Fair Home Shopping Studios in beautiful downtown Lawrence, Kansas. And Dave has found a new box fort that's very adorable.
Mm-hmm.
And regrettably, probably his for a while, because ain't no way we're getting to receiving that this week.
A lot of
right?
boxes over there. A lot of boxes.
I guess we might be able to receive it this week. We only get one receiving day a week, so
We can work some of that
it's hard
in.
to catch up.
There's a lot of that over there. And we've got some folks coming back to help. So how about that? Maybe we let them do it.
Helpers!
Woo!
Yes! So exciting. On a related note, Paul,
Yes.
it's Monday, which is the day we share the news, so we need to share some news with y'all. It's what I like to call neutral news.
Neutral news.
That's my neutral lead-in. It wasn't
Yeah.
like as jazzy as normal news.
No, sometimes they really go all out.
They really do.
Get
It's
psyched for
so
the news.
intense. Honestly, the news splash sounds scare me sometimes. Luckily, I don't watch television news anymore. The news is because we have staff coming back in to organize. We've got back to school season ramping up, so we are very busy prepping kits and helping teachers get classroom supplies delivered safely. Everything's just kind of like high. Is high dudgeon right? I think high dudgeon might be too negative a connotation, but there's a lot going on. And you know what? We just feel like the time might be ripe for us to put Wonder Fair home shopping to bed.
Well, not to bed permanently necessarily, but
Well, that's
put it on pause.
putting something to bed permanently is death. I just said
Oh,
put it to
okay.
bed like it's going to take a nap.
Okay, well, that has a couple different meanings. So
Oh, good point.
we're thinking of pausing the home shopping broadcast for a minute while we get staff back into the store and get the folks back to school. We do a lot of kits for classes, so it'll be a busy few weeks here at Wonder Fair, and then we're on into the fall, planning the holidays.
We're going to be very busy coordinating autumn colors into our wardrobe, layering sweaters,
Mm-hmm.
looking at leaf fall,
and
leaf peeping.
coordinating stationery to your autumn wardrobe.
That's true. I love autumn color stationery.
Uh-huh.
It's one
Which
of my
would be a good
favorites.
reason to bring the show back, but we'll see when that becomes more feasible.
So, long story longer. We will continue the broadcast through Wednesday and then be on hiatus until the holiday season, probably.
We'll see.
Feeling it out. And that is because we'd like to have a going away party with all of you. Just to note, the broadcast is ending, but the pandemic is not. Even though this is a pandemic response show, we just have other things to respond to currently related to safely being half open.
We got stuff to do,
We got
store
to
stuff.
do. So we're going to have a send-out party on Wednesday
Mm-hmm.
with our stationer to the stars, Nikita Mafidon,
Maybe
who doesn't
Nikita
even
will-
know this
Maybe
yet.
Nikita will bring pretzel cake.
Whoa, that feels like a big ask, but I'll do it anyway for selfish
Just
reasons.
saying.
Also,
It's a theme.
we'll have Boba Cola, Nikita and I's invention.
I don't know what
That's
that is.
Coca-Cola with boba bubbles in it.
Boba Cola?
Boba Cola.
How is that? Have you tried it?
No, we're gonna try it Wednesday.
Okay, great.
So that'll be exciting. Maybe Nikita will even pull some cards for us and let us know how it'll go for the next several months for everyone.
Okay.
So that'll be
stakes.
Wednesday. I know, right? Well, it's up to her. We'll just let her decide what she wants. And tomorrow we'll still do our new things at Wonder Fair Tuesday.
Yep.
Newsday Tuesday.
New
Not
Day
to be
Tuesday.
confused with Newsday Monday.
I've been taking out the plural and just saying New Day Tuesday
That's a better idea.
rather than News Day, because today's the news day.
So that's
In
our
other
news.
In other news,
what's up? What's the news?
What's the local
Well,
news here?
Paul, on Friday, the last of the ballots that had been postmarked by Election Day were received, and it brought our candidate, Shannon Reed, within 6 votes of incumbent Nancy Thelman in our local race for county commission in the 2nd district. A race we're very passionate about having be a win for progressive politicians in Lawrence, because I gotta tell y'all, people say we're a politically progressive city, but actually most of our lawmakers are pretty solidly moderate.
Yeah.
And so, in some places in Kansas, that's actually logical. It represents their base, but it's not representative here in Lawrence. So we'd love to swing that a little bit more toward the direction of representation for the people's desires, as shown by their votes and past measures and what they say on the internet and then don't always live up to. So.
The update on that race, I guess, is that there's still.
Oh, you were waiting for me to give the update?
There's still about 600 provisional ballots. So that's a lot. Was it 600?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in the whole county. So maybe a third of those are in the District 2 race. So we'll see how that all shakes down. We're expecting final results on the 17th
of August.
Mm-hmm.
Paul, tell the folks at home who might not know, what's a provisional ballot? Why would someone have filled out one of those?
Well, if you've maybe moved and they have your wrong address on file, then you would potentially fill out a provisional ballot, because you can vote at any polling place, even if it's not the one that you are supposed to vote at. So if you're not at the polling place you're supposed to be at, then you would fill out a provisional ballot. And so those just don't get counted necessarily unless the race is really close.
Yep. Another reason you might have filled out a provisional ballot is, let's say you had just registered to vote, but you had not yet affiliated officially with a party.
Ooh.
Like, you got registered to vote, but you didn't say, I am a Democrat, or I am a Republican, or I am an independent.
So even in an open primary?
Yes. So you can vote. So because the primaries are party specific, for example, if you wanted to go and vote in the Democratic primary, they wouldn't have your name on file to give you a Democratic primary ballot. So you could say, I'm going to register today as a Democrat. You become registered, you get to vote that day, but your ballot is still provisional.
I didn't know that.
You can't switch parties because that deadline passed a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
But you can, as an unaffiliated voter, still vote, and you can't vote in 2 party elections. You can only choose one primary to vote in. And I think maybe even independents can still
that's it.
vote,
if
and
you're
maybe they're provisional. I'm not
sure.
sure.
I mean, independent is an unregistered person. So
there you go.
If you're unaffiliated with a party, unaffiliated, yeah.
So,
if you're unaffiliated, then you affiliate in order to cast the primary, and then you can unaffiliate once you voted and go back to being an independent. So, that's an interesting.
So those are just 2 ways. I think there's other provisional ways. For example, if you showed up at your polling place and your driver's license was expired, because it is very hard to go to the DMV in a quarantine time, they might have, depending on the poll worker, technically you are allowed this year, especially seniors this year were allowed and are always allowed to vote with an expired license, but they might or might not have let younger people vote without.
Is that voter disenfranchisement? Sounds like it.
It kind of is, folks. Straight up, anything about your driver's license is voter disenfranchisement in Kansas. But
sounds like a privileging of a certain class of citizens, a senior class. Just saying. Why do they get to vote with expired licenses?
It's disadvantaging everyone except seniors.
Yes.
They get to vote with expired licenses because the assumption is they couldn't pass a driver's test and would at some point stop doing it potentially. So if they've chosen not to keep driving,
what if I suck at driving and can't pass a driver's test again?
Right.
What if I only did it once?
It's true that it's honestly kind of ageist and weird, because there are certainly elders who can drive and have licenses up to date, and there are certainly younger people who cannot go get driver's licenses and keep them up to date.
This pandemic has illuminated so many.
Oh, it's getting hot.
No, it's just illuminated so many sort of useless rules and laws where you finally get to look at them and be like, why does that exist? Why is it only seniors that can do that?
I agree.
And so, here we are.
So that's another reason maybe someone would be asked to do a provisional ballot.
You got to vote with an expired driver's license, though.
Yes, because my birthday was in July, so I didn't even notice. But like, I'm not going to the
Probably
DMV
the first
right now.
time you used your driver's license since.
I had not pulled it out for any reason in several months because I'm not like going out to bars,
Right.
you know.
Mhm.
So anyway, they were being, but I voted early at City Hall, so they could like more. It was a little bit lower stress situation where you're like have a line. Not that there were lines. Anyway.
All right, so we learned about provisional ballots today. Any other local news we should cover? Ooh, the city of Lawrence is doing an economic development strategic plan, which is kind of exciting.
Cool.
I mean, I don't know.
Sounds thrilling,
It sounds thrilling. Well, you know what's exciting is that it's happening this week and next week, I believe. And you can register for sessions that are being conducted virtually. There's a ton of sessions, and what I want everybody to know is you don't have to know anything about economic development to go to these sessions. And in fact, I would really encourage you to not worry about whether you feel like you're qualified to go to one of these sessions. You should just go, because when it comes to economic development, it truly is a privileged class of people that get their seat at the table in those discussions. And the city here is trying to make it more accessible for people through these Zoom meetings and gatherings. So let's take advantage of that. Let's get our seat at that table. I know it's easy to hear economic development and zone out, but that's truly how the rich manipulate the system to their advantage, is by using that word, economic development. And it usually benefits them and rarely benefits you. So let's see what we can do to make it benefit everybody here in Lawrence. They're doing a particular, it's coming up at this time, I think, because everything changes with the pandemic. And so it's a real opportunity, and it would be great if Lawrence can take that opportunity and do something creative and cool that maybe you don't normally see. So much of development is just like rich people own land and they want tax breaks to develop it. But it doesn't need to be that way.
Develop it into what, Paul?
Develop it into housing usually, or into commercial spaces.
Lawrence is desperately in need of low-income housing and housing that's like ideally sub $150,000 to purchase a home, and the equivalent of low rents for our community. So we'll see what happens in the economic development thing.
You gonna go to a meeting?
Are probably you're real sassy today, huh?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. That's a meeting that 10 years ago I wouldn't have been on my radar at all. But now that I've sort of dipped a toe in here and there, I feel like, boy, these are the places where it happens.
Yeah. I have no other local news off the top of my head, except just things that I could whine about, and I'm just not gonna do it.
Well, if you're curious about the economic development, hit up City of Lawrence website. There's definitely a big old banner talking about the economic development strategic plan right now. And you can register for one of those sessions. Let's see. There's a question on YouTube. Low income versus affordable housing. What's the difference? There's affordable housing,
Oh, good
quote
point.
unquote, affordable housing going on in East Lawrence.
There's a question. What?
The 800 Pennsylvania development. All right, we're getting into the nitty gritty
it.
here. Yeah.
I should probably. That's a good point. There are ways to designate that people have to qualify for. Sometimes the government will help subsidize projects if there's a mandate that folks who get to live in it qualify as low-income individuals who really need the help, so that business developers who don't need financial incentives from the government to build can't just, it's a way to gentrify a neighborhood. It takes 15 years, but that's 15 years goes by in the blink of an eye. So in my opinion, I'm getting old, but essentially they'd be tax-free for 10 years, and that housing would be for low-income individuals who met a certain percentage of the poverty line in their income, and then they would sunset that law, and anyone could then live in those properties, and they can jack up the rents, and that makes all the neighborhoods around them have a little bit of a rent boom, and it forces people out of the neighborhoods who previously could afford to live there. That's a problem.
Right. That's the gentrification game.
That is.
And it's typically the game that most developers play, even when it comes to that low income or affordable housing.
I think, and I'm not sure, the 800 Pennsylvania situation might have a 30-year sunset, which I will say, if that's true, it's a little bit more worth talking about, even though I still am a little skeptical of it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's been supported by the Lawrence Affordable Housing Collective.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know too much more about it myself.
Yeah, 30 years is beyond the speculative range of the market, so it's like that's different, but it's still it's challenging because as Paul often points out to me, owning a home is the way that the middle class has previously built its wealth, and it's always really favored, obviously, white people who have more access to capital initially to invest in homes from the outset. So now that's not the case anymore, and increasingly younger people can't afford to invest in homes. They're not available, and there's no way for the middle class to thus accrue wealth. Everybody is now on a borrowing system where they're just leasing from landlords, and that is also not sustainable.
Right. So long term, the way our system of building wealth in the middle class has been around home ownership. So when you do have economic development supporting big housing projects that are rent-based, you basically refuse that kind of wealth access to your local middle and lower class.
Essentially
by
locking
subsidizing
them in lower.
Yeah. So that's the real problem
That's
there.
a challenge.
And I mean, you can't, it's hard at this point to change that game, and part of that home ownership game is that mortgage rates are really low, and that's what enables all that borrowing for middle and lower income
It
people.
also enables people to purchase multiple homes and then rent them and become property landlords. So there's also
Absolutely.
a discussion to be had about whether home ownership is even a desirable way to build wealth in the middle class, or if capitalism entirely is just not a way to have a wealthy middle class. And is wealth even a good thing? Maybe we just need an entirely new system.
Wonderfair Home Shopping Network.
We don't know. We're not economists. We just live in the world.
We're just spiraling. Oh my God.
I don't know.
Well, any more local news to share?
Well, just keep doing the best with what you've got, but don't assume you have to accept it.
Yeah. Thank you, Megan. Indeed, a wormhole. Thanks for sending us down that one.
Sorry, everyone. It's really complicated. You know what my current pet peeve is? An attempt to feel more comfortable in society and quickly go from confusion and stress to anger by oversimplifying a problem. So I don't want to do that. This is a really complicated problem. It's extremely complex. It involves capital racism. It involves ableism. It involves having an anti-poverty culture in our country. It's about just the general malaise of a society that hasn't been putting health at the forefront. And there's so it's so complicated. There's not one solution. It's not just anti-capitalism or anti-racism. It's everything. And that's exhausting. So just pick the thing you think you can be helpful
and
at.
All that honestly makes it pretty hard to feel like you're making the right decision even locally. So we'll be respectful of people who support development projects that maybe we think are not the absolute best, but sometimes they're better than nothing. I don't know.
And some people know better.
Yeah.
We're just dumb.
We try and trust the housing experts.
We don't really know.
The affordable housing experts in Lawrence is who we tend to look to for guidance there.
But I just want to point out a lot of affordable housing experts don't have a lot of range of experience, or maybe the lens they view what's good about affordable housing through is not the best lens. And then what do? You just keep trying.
Boy, oh boy. Okay.
This show went
What?
off the rails.
Really off the
Good thing
rails
we're
here.
wrapping this series
Wonder
up.
Fair home shopping.
Yo, we've been wearing jumpsuits from day one, but we're just here to give you.
Haven't washed it once. Could use it if I'm being
I haven't
honest.
washed it either. You've never washed it?
No, I mean I haven't watched it during the run of the Home Shopping Network series, but
That seems fine.
it is starting to get a little ripe if I'm being honest here.
Honestly, fine.
Okay.
We only wear them for like an hour a day,
Yeah,
and then we take them off because it's hot.
it's a little hot, at least in the summer anyway.
Okay.
All right.
Is that
well,
a good cool down?
that's a good cool down
That
on the
was a
show
long
tomorrow.
soapbox.
On
We
the show
really
tomorrow.
appreciate everybody listening to our soapbox
Mhm.
and understanding that we know it's ironic since we run a home shopping network and sometimes go off on a whimsical tirade about anti-capitalism.
That'll be our show for today. Thanks for tuning in. And tomorrow, it's New Day Tuesday, so we'll show you some actual things we sell here at Wonder Fair.
Real
You may not be
objects.
able to buy them from your home, but they're here at our store, guaranteed.
Why couldn't they buy them from their home?
I mean, they're probably not listed on our website, wonderfairhomeshopping.com.
Just pick up the phone and call
Just pick up
us.
the phone and call us. You can still buy them from your home.
Yeah.
All right. We'll figure it out for you. And maybe
Yeah.
there's a lot of boxes. Maybe we'll do an unboxing. or
I made
something.
myself want to nap again. I did it again.
Well, good news. There's some iced coffee in here somewhere for you.
Sweet. That Vietnamese iced coffee is amazing.
I've been making Vietnamese iced coffee at home. Actually, you've been making it now too.
Right.
We bought the supplies. It's great. I mean, I guess that sweetened condensed milk can kind of do anything for you. Add that to anything and it's good, right? It's just a ton of sugar.
That's my new philosophy.
There
Let's end on that happy note.
you go.
Because we got to have a way to keep going. Keep going, everybody. We're going to keep going just till Wednesday, though.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay. I'm sure we'll regret it when we're done. But you gotta know when to quit.